Take it away, trainers. You're still muted.
I'm sorry, my dog is barking. We have a repairman at home, and I'm sorry. I'm going to have to try to move somewhere else if someone can start answering the question.
Sure. So I think this is a really common question that comes up for a lot of people. So I'm glad that this was asked. I believe Alejandra will be sharing, or Amy will be sending out um, some examples of real life commands that have been shared with us from Dr. Emma Gerard. So you will get a hard copy of some recommendations as well. But yeah, thinking about what we can do. Here we go. Thanks, Amy. In the office, in our fake little world that we create, that we have in our playroom. So just rereading the question, real life when it comes to in the office. So a lot of the times when we are moving into those sessions, a parent who I have had leave their purse somewhere else, I'll have them bring some of those items in, a water bottle, maybe taking off their coat, putting it on, changing their shoes, tissues, some of those types of things. In the office, that is hard. I think you often have to bring in more real life items. Looking at this, so real life commands at home, I think are also really beneficial when we have that explanation given before the command, just like you guys are seeing in the example from Dr. Gerard. So, I'm going to use the bathroom. Please follow me now. Dinner is ready. Please come sit down. Some of those things. I'm trying to think. I'm looking back at your question to see if you were looking, because you're typically using in session. That was the specific question. So I'm getting hot in here. Please put my coat on the chair. Oh, your shoes are kind of in the way of our toys. Please put them by the door. Those are some things that we will often use. Please put this tissue in the garbage. Normally I don't have a garbage can in the room, but I'll bring it in during those real life practice sessions. Do you guys have some other ideas?
If it is something that the parent can bring from home to the office, I will have them do that. We've had families bring toothbrush and toothpaste and do the routine of toothbrushing. So I talk a little bit about where the family's getting stuck at home and try and problem solve with them any way to try and recreate that in the office, including having them bring an item. I might have them bring an iPad and let the child play with it during check-in and then have a direct command to give the iPad back. So it depends where they're struggling. And I do want to say that the manual recommends role play if the child doesn't need timeout and really is following all the commands. So I appreciate the question and the desire to find some strategies about how to practice live. And if you can't do that, role play is absolutely the way to go. The other thing that we will sometimes try is if family has technology and we're able to pull it off, to maybe do a telehealth PDI, so that those real life commands are right there in front of the family and just coach via telehealth if that's an option for the family and for the clinic.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to remind that doing PCIT all the way out of the room as well. So I had one that we ended up going back into the room because the behavior happened in the hallway or in the lobby. And so just knowing that doing PCIT the whole time, not just in the room, can allow for some really good practice.
Yeah, so just adding to what Erin and Amy have said, all those I think we all kind of do the same. But about the role play, I usually try to do it. If the child doesn't go to timeout, the very first PDI session, then I repeat PDI one again, and I'll just try to give a little more challenging commands. And if the child still doesn't go to timeout, then I'll do the role play at that point. And the goal is to make sure that the caregivers show that they can do all the steps in the sequence on their own. So I'll play the role of the child. That way I can control whether I'm complying with a command or not. And then I want to see that the parents, the caregivers are able to follow through with the sequence. Oftentimes I have to coach them, like do one role play with me coaching them at the same time that I'm playing the child. And then I'll have them go again because I want to make sure that if they go home and start practicing PDI at home, that they know what to do. So that would be the only thing about the command, that we really want to see them knowing all the steps in the sequence.
Great. Okay. Yeah, so if anyone has more comments, feel free to pop them into the chat or use the Q&A or raise your hand and then I can unmute you. But yeah, great responses. So let's move on to the next one. And you all started talking about this one a little bit, but what are your best coaching strategies for in-room coaching? You touched on that a little bit, but if you want to follow up some more, I'll put that in the chat too so people can see it.
Well, I don't usually do in-room coaching because we are fortunate enough to have a coaching room, but you know, equipment fails. So every once in a while, we have to just pivot and go and do in-room coaching. However, I'm assuming this question comes from someone who doesn't have a coaching room, which there are some clinics that don't have it, and that's okay. What I would suggest, sorry, I'm holding my dog because otherwise he's just gonna go crazy at the window. What's really important is to make sure that the caregiver understands how the coaching is gonna work, and that you, even though you're in the same room, you're not gonna be engaging in chatting or discussing anything with a caregiver, because that will happen. You know, you're sitting right there, whether it's slightly behind them, but close enough that they're right. They're just gonna turn to you and say, "See what I mean?" or try to explain more, and so that can be distracting to you. That can be distracting to the child. So that's one thing. The other thing is, depending on the age of the child, some children are totally fine with you being in the room and coaching the caregiver right there, and some other, oh, sorry, some other kids really want to get you involved. They want to include you in the play. They want to show you. They want to talk to you. So sometimes you have to talk to the child and explain how the coaching is going to happen, and that even though you're talking to the caregiver, to the parent, you're not going to be engaging with them. And then we have to follow through, you know, with not engaging. We can use our robot face, not showing that giving them any attention. Just pretty much we're using an ignore, right? And then quickly they understand the process and they can go ahead and continue playing with the caregiver. Something that we've used in the past years and years ago, like I said, I haven't had to do in-room coaching in a long time, but we used to have just the word, like say label praise or behavioral description, reflection in kind of enlarged, and then we laminated them and put like popsicle sticks. And so we would use them to kind of coach the parent. If we sat in a way that the parent could see us, then we would use it, raise it, and to prompt the parent to use that skill. So I think it depends on your setup, how you could make it work.
We have also, depending on the size of the room and the technology, actually had the coach sit in the far back corner of the room and use a headset or some sort of device and coach kind of into the headset pretty quietly from the back so that they're not at the table, which it then is somewhat less distracting for the parent and the child. So again, space and technology to be accounted for, but that sometimes works so that you're in room, but you're also distanced from the family.
And for technology tips with that, I was able to do that with a walkie-talkie system. And the walkie-talkies have the earpiece that can go into it. So the child wasn't hearing me as much. And then I was able to turn my volume completely off because I could hear everything that the child and the parent were saying. So I was just had my microphone on. And it was a pretty cheap setup.
Okay, thank you. We've got a few more questions that were sent in ahead, and then we've got one in the queue in our Q&A box. So the next one that we got ahead of time was,